You know what time it is.
What's up, beer people?
If you heard it on the hashtag beer time, it's true.
It must be true.
It's true. It is fact. Please, won't you name one of your beers cart horse?
And just do something terrible. Just shit beer.
Stick your finger in there every now and again.
Stir it with a sock.
Every show, it feels like my first show.
Every show is a new adventure.
We're having some good conversation here, Mr. Troy.
Did I make sense there? I think I did.
I love them all.
Are we all fair?
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to another episode of Hashtag Beer Time with me, T-Bone Troy, the show where we talk about all things beer. And in this show, we have two gentlemen joining us from Woodstock Brewery. Woodstock Brewery is named after the suburb in which the building is located. And they do play on the whole Woodstock theme, the music, the sex, drugs, rock and roll, you name it. And so we talk to Dylan and Murray, the two brewers, about the brewery and about the beers that they make and what they're trying to achieve. It's certainly one of the most popular breweries in Cape Town with their labels, with their beers, award-winning beers. So we try that on the show. We try some new barrel-aged beers and some old barrel-aged beers. Nothing wrong with that. And it's a cool show. Guys, let me know what you think. Cheers.
Whoa. That wasn't quite the intro that I was looking for. But you know what? Why not? Who doesn't like Winnie the Pooh? I mean, if you don't like Winnie the Pooh, then I guess shame on you. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, it is 12 o'clock. It's Tuesday, and you listen to Hashtag Beer Time with me, T-Bone Troy, the show where we talk about all things beer. And what a week it's been. There's a lot going on. There's a lot chitter-chatter on the airwaves. I'll elaborate a little bit later, but let me get straight into introducing our guests. Let me turn the music down. Thank you very much. They've been on my list, this brewery, to have on the show. I mean, I can't believe that we haven't had them on the show. We've had one or two of their beers for sure, but I'm so stoked to finally get them in the studio. I'm talking about Woodstock Brewery, and I'd like to welcome Mr. Dylan, Mr. Murray. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thanks. How's it, Troy?
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Cool. I'm going to ask you just to sit a little bit forward, but that's good. So, guys, am I correct in saying you guys are the senior brewers? Is that right?
Yeah, we're the two brewers at Woodstock.
You're the big deals. You're the guys who are responsible for making the good beer.
Yeah.
So, I think before we chat about anything, it is 12. I need a beer. I really need a beer. Let's, that Californicator staring at me. So let me open it. And Murray, I'll give you the first swing. I'm going to call you Murray number 4, just so you know. You are the fourth beer, Murray, in my phone book. We've obviously got the co-host, Murray, who's on the show from Metal Land. Then we've got Murray Slater from Beer House, who's, I think, also quite a regular. And then we've got Murray Turner from Cape Town Festival Beer, who's also been on the show 2 or 3 times. But this is your first time.
This is my first time.
Mr. Murray number 4.
Yeah.
Do you often get confused between different Murrays?
There are a lot of Murrays in the beer industry, which makes it quite interesting. And every now and again at a beer festival, the 4 of us get together, and then it's just mayhem. Everything falls apart.
I can imagine. So, talk to us. Dill, you don't have that problem, huh?
No, I've only know other one, Dylan, and mates with Murray, who was in the band, and I mean that's pretty much it.
Not many Dylans around.
No. So talk to us about this. Talk to us about this beer. What am I pouring here?
So you're pouring our Californicator American style IPA, and I brought it along today because it was bottled maybe like half an hour ago.
Ooh.
So it's nice and fresh.
So I'm taking it that ice coldness on the bottle is from the fermenter.
Yes.
Or do
Yeah.
you use a bright beer tank? Or?
Oh, we have uni tanks. So
Okay.
yeah. So it's coming straight from the tank. It hasn't been in the fridge yet.
Cheers, gents. Nice to have you on the show. Thank you very much. Oh, okay. I'm definitely going to sniff this and let this get into my nostrils. So talk to us about this Californicator. I mean, it is pretty much your number one IPA. You don't make any other IPAs, or
No, we don't.
this is
Sorry, we do. We have a Imperial IPA as a collab
okay.
with another brewery.
Sure.
This is under our own label. This is our IPA.
And it's, I'm going to put this out there, but this is in the top range of IPAs in the country. You know, everyone seems to look at Devil's Peak IPA. I'm struggling to find other. Rory from Ager's IPA. But the Californicator, I would say, is a definite contender for a top spot. I mean, it's a delicious IPA. And I guess what I'm saying, how did you guys do that? I mean, what's your secrets? Why is it so good?
I think the main
How
secret
how did you nail this on the head? I mean, I think what I'm trying to allude to is that a lot of brewers in South Africa, they kind of miss the mark when it comes to brewing a good IPA. And you guys just kind of hit this on the head. You had a great start to this beer, and it really is one of my favorite IPAs in the country.
Yeah, I think.
I guess I'm asking, what's your secrets?
Without giving away too many secrets, I think the big thing behind the Californicator is that it's packed full of South African hops as well as international hops.
Okay.
So it gives it that big, piney, resinous smell and taste and feel to the beer as well. That I think is similar to a lot of the West Coast style IPAs in the States. And yeah, I think a lot of...
Can you tell us what hops you use?
We use Southern Passion,
Okay.
Southern Aroma, Cascade.
That Southern Passion from SAB in Georgia, it tends to be quite the popular
Yeah.
IPA hop or bittering hop.
Yeah.
Bittering / aroma. Yeah, no, it's definitely one of my favorites. Sorry, you were saying in the Cascade?
Cascade, Chinook, and Columbus.
Okay, so the
For
3
listing?
C's.
No, it's all of those, yeah. And
Yeah.
even a Southern Star thing we throw in there. Just
Yeah,
for
there's a little
of
bit.
that, yeah.
Would you just pull your mic? You can pull your mic a little closer to you. That should be good, yeah. Okay, I'm going to go in for a little sip. Oh. So this is spot on, and it's actually quite a nice. I don't think I've ever started a show with an IPA. We usually start with Kolsch Pilsner, but it's great to start with a 6.5%. What's the IBU on this?
65, yeah.
Yeah, so it's it's a great start to the morning. And what I like about this is that you get that 65 bitterness, that IBU that hits you in the front of the mouth. But now at the end, it's totally dissipated. There's no harsh bitterness lingering around, and it's surprisingly a very sessionable beer. Dylan, do you smash a few of these?
Yo, I love a IPA. As I say, it's usually my one beer I have to have during the day if I'm drinking, either starting off with or ending off with.
Mm-hmm.
But thanks to this new thing that they have been doing for about a year or so with the CO2 extract,
Yep.
which we used in there, I think I actually enjoy the California a lot more now thanks to that.
Can you talk to us a little bit about that? Because I think I'm a little bit green behind the ears when it comes to that kind of brewing process. Can you just talk to the people what the CO2 extract means?
Well, generally they take a whole bunch of hops from the field and that put supercritical CO2 through there, so it's in different states at all time.
Mm-hmm.
And all that's doing is picking up all the oils, that good stuff that we need from the hop besides the plant. And it changed the beer so much since we've done that.
Okay, so you extracting the oils, I suppose, by getting rid of the leaf, you're getting rid of potential vegetal notes and stuff like that.
Straight up that plantiness, yeah.
Yeah, that was the biggest thing for us when we started using it, was that it took out that vegetal flavor in the background and smoothed it out and let the hop oils and the the good stuff from the hops come out even more.
That's maybe what was I was getting at with my first question. With a lot of the South African brewers, they want to make an IPA and they have a great recipe and they go for it and they brew this beer. It comes out of the tank. It's delicious, but then after maybe a week or a month of sitting on the shelf, that beer starts to develop a little bit of a vegetal note because of the process in which they brewed the beer. Is the CO2 extraction, is it something easily available?
Yeah. We get it.
Am I saying it right? CO2 extraction. So how does that work?
It's
carbon
called
dioxide?
CO2 extract.
Okay.
Yeah, CO2 extract.
So
And-
does it have anything to do with carbon dioxide? That's
so,
CO2. Huh?
So yeah, like Dylan.
Excuse me, I don't know a lot of science. But
No, and Dylan used a massive word there that I'm sure everyone would struggle to get through. Was supercritical,
Yeah.
which is basically just liquid CO2. So
Okay.
they put it through its different
I just
curves.
thought it was really important part of the process.
And yeah, then use that liquid CO2 to actually extract the oils out of the hop.
Okay, so it is
The
something
acids.
that all brewers can potentially use in our young markets.
No, in a sense of like it's not available for home brewing and stuff like that because
Okay.
it comes in a minimum size of like a 1 kg can.
Okay.
And once that can's open, you've got to use the whole thing.
Can
as
I
soon as
use that
possible.
whole can in my 20-liter batch?
You can, but you won't taste anything for about 2 weeks, I think,
Yeah.
if you use it.
We're not in America and playing the IBU race anymore. They've done that. So.
Really?
Yeah.
What
pretty
do you mean I
intense.
won't taste anything? Will everything be killed?
When I first opened it, I thought, everyone says you shouldn't taste it, but I was like, you got to try the stuff and see what it actually is. So
Yeah.
I put my finger in it and tried it, and it's just so bitter and coats your mouth, and you literally don't taste anything for a long time.
Oh, so it actually just coats your mouth and kills off any other taste perception.
Yeah, and it's super, super bitter. It's like
Mm,
55% alpha
I
acid.
suppose it's like eating hop pellets,
Yeah,
which
in like a concentrated form, like a syrup that you can't get out of your mouth.
whenever we have people, I don't say whenever and always, but sometimes when we have people over for a brew day, we say, oh, yeah, here's the malts, try the malts. Sweet. Here are the hops, try the hops. And then we get a lot of flucking and swearing. Guys, this is a delicious beer, and it is indeed fantastic. We've got a lot to talk about in the show. We've got some events coming up, which I know you guys want to talk about. We've got some events coming up in the Beer World in Cape Town in South Africa. It's been a year that's kind of just flown by. I mean, I can't believe it's June already. It's almost time to dust the old boots off. I don't know why boots, but dust the old boots off and get ready for the Woodstock Winter Beer Fest. I take it Woodstock Brewery will be there.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Never miss that one out.
And I've been chatting to Nick from Drifter, who's also, I suppose, your neighbor brewer. He's quite involved in the whole thing, and he's getting excited because new venue, new spots, more. I think there are more brewers, but definitely, from what I remember last year, it was at the Palm Center, and it was just jam packed. You couldn't move. People were just shoulder to shoulder, and which was that's awesome to see. It's awesome to see that the Winter Beer Fest was one of the most popular beer fests. Do you guys have anything special lined up for that?
Yeah.
You have to bring a different beer. Do you,
Yeah,
is
for
it-
the festival, you have to do something just for the festival itself. So this year, last year we ended up doing 2, so I think this year we'll do 2 again. I'm going to try pull off my waffle porter again. Obviously, this time with way more waffle in there.
Lovely.
And keeping it, dark winter, but try something out with a bit of a desserty vibe. I think I might end up putting a little Barwa and milk stout.
Now, I was thinking, as a brewer thinks on whenever, can you make a bar one and ice cream milkshake? Look at me, bar one and ice cream
Buy those.
beer. Yeah.
Well,
How would you go about making a beer like that?
Well, with the ice cream vibe itself, lactose is an easy thing to get,
Okay.
which is just generally a
Step
sugar
one.
from milk.
Just want to take some notes here.
So which would give the beer a bit more of a nice, sweetness to it, so it gets that desserty vibe coming through. And then,
So that's lactose, and that's actually a milk sugar.
yeah, sugar from milk itself, yeah, which is unfermentable by yeast. So as I said, we'll leave that sweetness in there.
So is that correct? Am I saying this correctly? That's a residual sugar that's left behind?
Yeah.
Or I suppose it's unfermentable, as you
Yes,
said.
yeah.
The yeast cannot eat that.
Yeah, so they don't end up going for it. And then chocolate, I'm going to pull out with cocoa nibs. Lucky enough, where we are just down at the Biscuit Mill, we got Cocoa Fair.
Okay.
We've used it before, their cocoa nibs, and as I said, love the flavor I got from it.
Okay.
And the caramel, that one I'm just going to have to, pull a little sneaky one and see what I can get with that.
I wonder if you got all the toffee from the bar one. I'm sure you could make it somehow, or I suppose you could buy a whole bunch of chocolates to bar ones and just take off the chocolate. No,
Eat the outside.
but yeah, that is a good option either way. But I'm sure you could add some of that caramel, and that would definitely come through.
Yeah.
Alternatively, you could get a specialty malt like Cara One or any caramel malt.
Yeah, we got quite a bit of caramel, so it can give us caramel flavor, but not to that extent of that sweetness. So I might even just pull a little easy cheat and get a little caramel flavorant if I can't work it out without that, just so it comes through a little bit.
Okay, so your beer that you're looking to do is the bar one and waffle beer. Is that
No,
correct?
so I'm going to do a waffle porter would be the one, and then
Okay.
the bar one milk stout would be the second one.
Could we mix those together?
You could try it at the festival, and then what you would get yourself.
Or do we
is a
have
bar one
license?
waffle.
Do we have license to do that?
As I said, it's up to you guys. I mean, I'm doing the 2 beers for the festival. You guys can mix it up.
I suppose if it's done with taste and with respect to the brewers, because I know that I've worked at Cape Town Festival Beer, and you get more boys clubs coming in there, bachelors, guys, and they do just mix all the beers to kind of, I don't know, get drunk the quickest, if that even works. But with your permission, I'm going to do that.
Yeah, go for it. Let me know what it's like, and if it's
Yes.
amazing, let me know so I can do it myself and give it a try.
Because bar one sauce on a waffle is normally pretty good.
Yeah.
So
Hey,
imagine
yeah,
that.
bar
You
one
get
on
your ratios
I think
right. You
bar one
spot
on
on.
anything is
Yeah.
pretty good. We've been speaking for, can you believe it, 18 minutes. Let's open our next beer, which is Mr. Brownstone. Now, before we go on, let's open Mr. Brownstone. I'll give you the honors.
Sweet, thank you.
Californicator, I'm going to assume that's named after the state of California
Correct.
and the hops that you've used. Is that
Yes,
that's
that's
okay.
correct.
What's Mr. Brownstone named after?
Mr. Brownstone is named after, because all of our names are around sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Being
Sure.
Woodstock Brewery and following the Woodstock Festival.
Sure,
Bring
yeah.
those links together. So, Mr. Brownstone, after we brewed a brown ale, Mr. Brownstone came to our mind.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Mr. Brownstone being the Guns N' Roses song where they talk about heroin
Okay.
and how addictive it is.
Mm-hmm.
And we think that this beer is super addictive, and once you have some, once
I
you do a little,
agree.
little got more and more. And yeah, then we settled on that name for the Brownstone.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong again. I say that a lot on the show, believe it or not. But wasn't this a seasonal beer that was recently made a yearly beer? An all-round?
Yeah, so we have now actually brought this in as one of our flagship beers itself. So, people are enjoying it more and more. And funny enough, this beer actually started
very
out
much.
as our first ever beer we did for Woodstock Winter Beer Fest.
Okay, cool.
And the popularity from there grew it into becoming a seasonal. And once again, popularity from that shot it all the way up to being a flagship beer, so year round.
I stand to be corrected. I'm going to stop saying that on the show. Because you know what? I'm just going to claim it. If I say it and it's wrong, I don't care. But I know that Greg from Banana Jam brought out Rogue Hazelnut IPA. No, it was Rogue Brown Ale. It was a Rogue Hazelnut Brown Ale. He brought out a few kegs. He put it on tap at Banana Jam. And it was this amazing hazelnut brown ale, which no one had tasted in South Africa, and we just lapped it up, and then it was gone, and then no one was making a brown ale, and it was a dark time for us in South Africa. But thanks to you guys, you brought back this world-class beer, if not better than, I'm going to say it, if not better than Rogue Hazelnut Brown Ale. I know that's a statement, but I'm sure there are some people listening who can say, hey, you know what? I agree with you. I agree with you, T-Bone. Just going to wait for my phone just to see if anyone agrees with me. And I'm still waiting.
I can message you.
I'm still waiting. Guys, cheers. This is
Cheers.
Cheers, yeah.
delicious. So, oh my God, I'm getting... You know what I'm getting? I'm getting... No, I don't know why. I think because I've been talking about it. I'm getting that Barwon toffee...
A lot of people say Kit Kat.
Kit Kat.
Kit Kat is also a common one.
So yeah, and definitely am getting that Kit Kat wafer, vanilla wafer kind of...
Sort of like chocolate notes coming through as well.
Damn it, now all I'm thinking about is Kit Kats. And I'm going to get home and my wife's going to be like, you've been chowing Kit Kats. And I'm like, no, I haven't.
In the pub.
So why... what was your thought process around creating a brown ale, and you know what was your thought process with when it came to people being like, wow, this is great, let's make this a year-round beer? Is that what you guys do? Is that what all brewers should maybe do? Like just experiment with one or two, see if it works. What's your kind of what's your plan with this beer and other beers?
I guess it's different for every beer and the kind of the way it evolves from how it started. And I think this one's quite an interesting one because it did just start out as an idea. You know, like you talk about those days of drinking the Rogue one at Banana Jam.
That's good.
And then we got the idea of, you know, maybe let's try do this. You know, no one's doing anything like it around here. Tried to brew one. We tried very many iterations of using roasted hazelnuts and this hazelnut and that hazelnut and putting it in here and there. And eventually settling on one that we brewed for that first Woodstock Winter Beer Fest.
So do you still use hazelnuts?
No, we don't in this one.
Okay.
So we went through all those
You
iterations.
could say yes, I would believe you.
I wish we did say yes, but the nuts just added so much oil
Yes.
to the beer itself that
It'll take away that head.
it took away the head. It went like super thick. It didn't clear up at all, and just wasn't it was like eating the raw hazelnut, which isn't always great.
No.
It's like got like a weird sticky feeling in your mouth. So we then moved on to brewing it with flavorant. So we use a hazelnut flavorant in the beer.
So I'm just trying to enjoy this sip. But okay, so let's talk about flavorants. So I've always learned that less is more. And you said you went through a few iterations of this beer. Were there some where you like really ramped it up in terms of hazelnut oils? And how do you go about choosing that, finding a balance? Is it from continuous research and handing out to the consumer and getting that consumer to give you feedback? Or did you guys just like get together and be like, no, this is the one. This is the kind of level and style we want?
We do a lot of small batch brewing, so we were quite lucky in that we did quite a few small batches where within our team at work at Woodstock we would sit down and try different versions, and then with the flavorant, I think the key is to start small and kind of work your way up, and as you can do that on a small scale by pouring a pint and dropping some flavorant in it and see how that works in the beer, and then work your way up from there and see what everyone prefers.
Is it scalable like that? That's a silly question, but like you say, you drop in a pint. Is it, if let's say you drop a drop in a liter, is it scalable to 10 drops in 10 liters? Is that you're going to get the kind of same effect?
Yeah, I think we found that when we were doing this beer.
Okay.
So maybe it's not the same for every beer.
Yeah.
But I think with the flavorant we were using and the way we were doing it, it did seem pretty scalable and it worked out quite well.
Cool. But did you make a one that was like way too strong? And what was it like?
We pushed it quite far.
Oh, really?
Well, the first time I ever got it, when we decided, okay, let's see how much, we went according to the recommendations, and I think it was 2% you may put in there, and it literally just tasted like the flavor in itself. There was
really?
no beer in there whatsoever. So yeah, there is a thing of too much.
You could just make a base beer of just one type of malt and just add in that.
Yeah.
And then just see what happens. Okay, cool. Well, I must say this is one of my favorite beers from your stable. One of your first beers that really knocked me out of the park was your Belgian Amber Ale. And I don't know why, but I think, and there still aren't a lot of amber ales available in the markets. From what I know, it was the first one that stood it was Jack Black, Lumberjack. You guys came out with your Belgian Amber. I'm trying to think. Did Devil's Peak have one?
Devil's Peak had one. Quite a dark amber. I think it was Woodcutter,
Yes,
maybe.
yeah,
Or
yeah,
just
yeah,
thinking of the
yeah.
Jack Black one.
But yeah, we don't have it here, but I suppose I just want to let you guys know that was one of my best beers.
Awesome.
It still is one of my best beers. I think we're approaching the halfway mark. Can you believe it?
Sure.
So let's play a quick little song. I want to play a song that's related. That's related to the show. So let me just find a song here. Beer Time Tunes. What about?
Mr. Brownstone.
Also,
Yeah,
again, that's
I'm
really
looking.
good.
I'm looking for that, but I don't think I can find it.
And
So
they
I-
just announced that they're touring, not touring South Africa, they're coming to South Africa.
I mean, how can they not come play in Cape Town? Worst decision ever.
Worst decision ever. I'm gonna play. I think Golden Brown is a kind of. Is it? Yeah,
got the word brown in it.
Hey, Golden Brown.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll play that song and we'll give you guys a bit of a break. We'll give ourselves a bit of a break and we'll see you guys in a few minutes. Check you guys later. Ciao. Okay, we are back. Let's turn down the music. Thank you very much. We're back in the studio with Mr. Murray from Woodstock. You guys enjoying the show so far?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Enjoying it quite a lot.
As we said off the show, I think we prefer the beers more than the show, but that's not the first time I've said that. Let's move on to our next beer. As I say that, I've just still a little bit of beer, but I did pour myself some more of the Mr. Brownstone. We were saying off air, this is one of those beers where it's Moorish. It's a treat. You have one, and then you're like, I could probably have another one. I shouldn't, but I'm going to have another one. And then you have a third and a fourth. Anyway, it is very delicious, so I will commend you on that. It is 6%? What is that? 5%?
5.2.
5.2. So my eyesight's going. It's not from the alcohol. It is from the age. Speaking of age, no. That's the next beer. Let's move on to your collab beer. And we've spoken about it before. We've had it. I think we've had it on the show before. It's the Fuller's collab that you guys released. I think about 2 months ago. Only reason I remember that is I think we had it at the Fools and Fans Festival in Greyton, and it was the first time that we had it, or it was the first time it was released in the festival, at least on tap from what I know. So I want to know from you guys, Phil, you're welcome to open it. What was the highlights of making this beer with someone like Fuller's?
Well, it was amazing to do it with such a big international brewery. I mean, Fuller's have been around for quite a while. And nice enough for them to actually contribute was the yeast that they use for their dark beers, which to us actually brought out such an amazing character from it. Gave it that Fuller's vibe.
Did you pick up a big difference in the yeast compared to what you've used? Compared to what we have in South Africa?
I mean, I noticed something completely different. So we tried something different on the fermentation side of things. But once again, it comes to, you can taste it's Fuller. You know, that gives it that Fuller's taste, especially their darker beers, yeah.
Okay, so it's what you're saying is that I think a lot of people, the general rule of thumb, when you taste the beer, like you said, oh, I can taste that's Fuller's, oh, I can taste that's an American beer, yada, yada, yada. It's generally got to do with the water profile and maybe the hops. I think water profile first comes into mind. But you're actually throwing in a dimension saying, no, it's the yeasts, where I suppose maybe that's me and my young knowledge of. Let me just fix that. Sorry. No, the mics are sensitive like the host. What was I saying? Yeah, the yeast is not something really people think about, and it's something that not really I've thought about in terms of coming from a specific region. So, did you what else did you learn besides the yeasts? And why did you guys make a dark African Pride India Porter? African Pride. Okay, I reminded myself now. As I asked the question, I remind myself. Obviously, it's a play on London Pride.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's the African Pride. Okay.
Yes.
Also,
okay.
because we used one of the big hops that a hop that we threw quite a lot of in was the African Queen, the local hop, J17 African Queen.
Yes, the one that's also been making a bit of waves.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we used that, so it's kind of a play on African Queen and London Pride and joining those together. And yeah, and then also Fuller's doing a lot of porters, London Porter. And then instead of just calling it a black IPA, we went down the route of saying we're brewing like a hopped up porter. So it's rather an India Porter than a black IPA.
Okay, so yeah, it does have that bitterness, but I'm still getting on that level of chocolate bitterness that the chocolate brings. And it's sometimes it can be quite like tart or acidic. I don't know if I'm just that the black malt brings. But there's none of that in here, which is actually, it's beautifully balanced. This is another one of those beers where it's a treat. You just want a little bit more. And I am liking the label. I am liking the African styles. It's a beautiful label. I wanted to kind of talk about labels, and Murray, you touched on it earlier in the show where you spoke about your called Woodstock Brewery and your name. You play with the whole Woodstock Festival. As far as I know, Woodstock Festival was in the 70s.
Sounds right.
Sounds right. In the 70s. I wasn't around. I don't think any of us were around then. But the suburb of Cape Town, Woodstock in Cape Town, must have been around way before then.
Yeah.
I'm going to assume, and that's okay to do on the show. We do that on the show. We assume a lot. But obviously you guys built the brewery in Woodstock, and you thought, hey, let's play on this whole Woodstock Festival theme. You named some of your beers after some of the songs. I know some other. You got your Rhythm Stick, which is, remind me what style that is.
That's a pale ale.
And then you've got your Happy Pulls, which is a Pilsner.
Yeah.
And the Belgian one, Belgian Amber is your
Pot Belge, Belgian Amber.
So all your beers kind of have a theme towards the whole Woodstock Festival, which is very hippie, very, as you said, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Let me say that correctly. What's have you had any feedback? And I'm going to move on to something else, but what's been your feedback in terms of people reacting to your labels or your names? Has it been positive? Has it been negative? What are people's reactions when they find out that it's kind of like related to Woodstock, sex, drugs, rock and roll?
The overall feedback has been really good. People seem to really take to it and enjoy it. A big one's the Happy Pulls.
Yeah.
People love that idea. At festivals, it gets people pretty stoked. And you get the same guys coming back asking for their Happy Pulls.
Yes. There's probably a little chuckle there.
Yeah, well. No, of course, as they hand it to their mate.
Yeah.
But there has been, like, I think that I can think of maybe like one time where we tried to get into an outlet, and the guy might have been like, "Oh, I don't really like the beer names." But I mean, people are always not going to
I
like.
suppose that's
one thing.
personal preference.
Yeah.
Well, the reason I ask is that we've had a bit of social media flare up in the last 24 hours with a certain local Joburg brewery, which they've named a lot of their beers after. They've given their beer names very, I suppose, derogatory names and aims towards the female sex. I don't feel that I need to mention them on air, but I think there's been a lot of people have been upset with the way some brands portray sex, and I know that, well, should I say sexism? And I know that SAB had a whole statement, I think earlier this year or late last year, where they apologized for using females in their brand, and they said, look, we actually see our mistake now. It is 2018. Let's move forward. We apologize if we have offended anyone. Whether it was a marketing stunt, I don't know. But I guess what I just wanted to bring to everyone's attention is that, it is, I suppose, 2018. We are living in I'd like to think, a modern society where people need to put out creative works of art, creative labels, creative beers, so long as they don't have a disregard for other human beings. Am I saying that right? I think so.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I sound right. Hey, that's something fair to ask. Anyway, I thought I should say something about it because I know that there are a few people listening who wanted a comment from an official comment from #BeerTime. But yeah, if you're going to design a beer label, make it cool. Don't insult. Don't be sexist. Don't be rude. Just be cool. Don't be a dick.
Awesome.
Can I say that? Be awesome.
Yeah, don't be a dick. Be
Yeah.
awesome.
I think it was Sam Calagione from Dogfish had said the craft beer market is 99% arsehole free, which is, I suppose, we don't really want that 1% anyway. Let's get back to beer and finishing this beer. And I know that this is a fantastic beer. I will commend you. Please do more collabs like this. Do you guys have any more plans of collabs? Can you talk about something? If you can't say it, just say yes, we might have a plan. Or maybe.
I think as it stands, I wish we could say that, yeah, I know we got a lot in the pipeline. And there's a lot of people we would like to collab with.
Sure.
But nothing's lined up at the moment. But we will keep tracking and trying to get people down to South Africa.
This Fuller's collab must have given you a little bit of attention.
Yeah.
Down here in the old Western Cape of South Africa.
I mean, we were a little bit nervous about doing a black IPA. It's not the most popular beer style. But I think this one was taken very well, and people seem to really enjoy it, and it's been a nice talking point, and people are pretty stoked to see that a local brewery's done something with Fuller's. And yeah, it's been good.
It is cool, and I think we spoke about this in the beginning of the year on #BeerTime. 2018 was going to be the year of the collab, and or at least one of the guests, I think one of the Tasting League captains, suggested that 2018 is the year of the collab. We need more brewers doing collabs with one another within South Africa, because what that does, it's a sharing platform for resources. People get to learn. I think we're still a young industry, and not everyone has a big brewery. Not everyone has CO2 extraction, or whatever kind of equipment or knowledge. So we need people to do more collabs in South Africa to learn from each other, so that good beer, great beer is made, and the industry can grow, and more people can drink it. But I mean, I suppose to do a collab with an international brewery is also pretty cool. That's going for an A+. So yeah, very stoked that Woodstock did a collab with Fuller's. cheers to that. We've got. Can you believe it? 15 minutes left. Let's move on to our final beer, which is kind of what the whole show has been about. And you guys have thrown me a bit of a curveball, but a good curveball. We're going to be tasting a very delicious beer, and I think I've spoken enough. What are we drinking here? What two beers are we drinking here, Mary?
So we are going to try our barrel-aged Belgian quad beer, the Sugar Man.
Oh,
But what we've brought last year's version, the 2017.
yes, please.
And then we've brought the one that we've just started bottling now, this year's 2018 version. So we can try them side by side and see how they've changed. See how one is after being in the bottle for a year.
How should we drink this? And how should we drink a barrel-aged beer? Should we drink it? What I'm saying is, should we have the 2018 version? Should we have the 2017 version? Should you age a barrel beer? Like if someone had to buy the Sugar Man 2018, can they put it at the back of their fridge and keep it for a year?
Yeah, we're pretty confident that the beer can sit for over a year. As it's, the first year we did it was 2016, so we're still seeing how that's holding up. We still do have bottles of that stashed away in the back to see if that still lasted the 2 years in bottle.
Brilliant.
And yeah, I reckon after 1 year it'll still be really good. After 2, probably still be really good.
I mean, beer's a living thing as well, so it changes as it ages itself. So that's the nice thing. We've also told people, age, see what it actually does once it goes for a while. You want to notice the subtle flavors that start coming through a bit more as it gets older.
Well, I suppose the general rule of thumb is that if you have a high alcohol beer, you can age it.
Generally,
Whereas if you have a high hoppy beer, like an IPA or an Imperial IPA, you probably shouldn't age it because it's those hop notes which dissipate over time. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah, they change a lot. If you drink a hoppy beer that's been sitting in bottle for 4 months, you'll notice that the hop flavor goes a little bit sweet. It's not as fresh and aromatic as it was when you would have drunken it fresh.
Well, let me just take a quick photo and then just show all the people what I'm drinking. Cool. So which one are we going to have first?
I think we should do last year's version first. Try that one out, see how it's doing, and then go on to the latest one.
I like that.
So, kill myself with this knife.
One disadvantage about wax, neither knife to actually get you into the bottle.
I like the wax. The wax vibe.
Take the wax out.
Oh, very nice. Okay, I'm very excited. Oh, that's me. So, I saw a post the other day. I think it was Dogfish Head in the States, where they had a specialty beer like this. But as you said, they'd kept bottles from different years. And I mean, this is a brewery which is a lot older than a South African brewery, but they had kept a beer for the last 15 or 17 years. Actually, yeah, since 2000. They'd made one beer. It was a aged beer, but they had a beer from every year. And they do this every year, apparently. So 2018, they have 18 beers from going back 18 years, and they try one. They try a sip from each, and they kind of find out where the peak is of where it is to drink. So I hope you guys do something like that
Yeah, we definitely
in 15 years' time.
Yeah, we just keep trying to keep bottles back, and as we go. And a similar one I saw was Alaskan Brewery. They have their smoked porter, and they also keep it for years, and they say it's better to drink after at least like 3 years. So they sell it in packs in their little tap room of like a 20. When I was there, I think it was a 2016 version and a 2008 version. And they basically say drink the 2008 and keep the 2016, and that's actually what I've got at home. I've still got that 2016 one.
So here's an idea for Woodstock. Do that, like in 7 years' time, I want to be invited to your 10-year tasting, where you have your 10 of these beers. It's a long plan, but anyway, just put that in the back of your head.
I'll start the event on Facebook now.
Exactly. Cool. So this is a Bolton Quad. It's been barrel aged. How long does it sit in the barrel?
It sits in the barrel for 6 months.
Okay.
And they're red wine barrels.
Oh, I'm getting a lot of toffee, chocolates, chewy, raisiny. Okay, so this is the 2017 we're having. Oh. It is like a little bit of syrup. It's delicious. It's like... And what's great about this, sometimes when you age a beer in wine barrels, it sometimes gets that tart, vinous character transferred into the beer. Leaves a bit of a puckering taste. But this one, it's just like good raisins. I say good raisins because I'm not a fan of raisins, but it's a delicious taste.
What's quite interesting we found about doing the Sugar Man is that every year the barrels change a little bit. So obviously your red wine content will change a little bit. And in this one we're drinking now would have been 6 barrels were used for the 2016 vintage and 2 new red wine barrels. So the 6 originals plus 2 that would have had more red wine character, and then obviously when you blend it together you get an amalgamation of all the different barrels. It's quite interesting. Okay, so that's quite interesting how you keep your barrels. Is there a lifespan on barrels?
Depending on what set flavors you want from them. Like as Mario was saying, on the 2017, we did use barrels that we had used the year before. And we tasted the barrels halfway through their thing, and you can actually, those ones that we did use before, the red wine wasn't as predominant as it was in the year before. You're starting to get more of the oakiness coming from it. So we did change it up with those 2 new ones. And even in this year's one, we did get some new red wine barrels that we used again just to help bring through the red wine flavor and not basically get rid of it.
Well, let's have the new one. I'll be the guinea pig. I'll finish mine. And then we can leave 1 or 2 in another glass so we can compare it.
You want to crack this one?
It would be my pleasure. Now tell me, am I one of the first people to have this new Sugar Man?
You might be the first.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun. This is why I do the show. But if people do want to be the second or the third, if people do want to have some Sugar Man, where must they go?
So we are launching the beer this coming Saturday. We're doing like a little launch party at our tap room at Woodstock. And we're having a little event during the day, starting at about 10. We're going to have the Sugar Man on tap. We also have a little speciality thing going where we took last year's Sugar Man before it was put in barrel, put it in barrel after the Sugar Man came out.
Okay.
Left it for 6 months, added a whole lot of dark fruit to it, left it for another 6 months. So it's been sitting in barrel for a year now.
Okay.
And we're going to have that on tap to taste at the event as well.
Wow. Okay.
So there was a lot of information.
Just go through this.
So starting again.
Just had a sip of 10% barrel aged beer. Just go through that again.
So 2017 Sugar Man.
Yes.
Unbarrel aged.
Yes.
Went into the barrels that the 2017 Sugar Man came out of once we take them out.
Sure.
So then it was sitting in those barrels for 6 months, and we added a whole lot of dark fruit. We added some sweet cherries, blackberries, and raspberries.
Yeah. How much? 50 liters? 100 liters?
Oh, it's a full barrel, but like the fruit itself wasn't that much that we added in.
It was about 2 kgs of cherry, and then we added like a pureed fruit.
Okay, but in terms of how much beer, like?
Oh no, this is only 1 barrel.
Yeah, so 200 liters.
Only 200 liters. Okay.
Yeah, so very limited.
But still, that's not bad. That's like almost 7 kegs. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's say 6 kegs. Okay, that's a lot to get through. But keep going. And then you...
So that's been in barrel now for about a year, and we're gonna do a keg of that at the launch just to taste.
So what are you expecting? Like a little bit of a sweet fruit pie or like a tarty?
You know, like you were getting
Tarty,
you
is
were
that a
talking
word?
about those raisin notes and that sort of
Yes.
stuff to try and get more of that dark fruit flavor to come out, a little bit richer.
And that's only going to be available this Saturday
Yeah,
at your launch party.
yeah.
Okay. Oh, looks like I might need to get another little pink slip. I'm going to have a little sip of the 2018 as the first non-Woodstock person. Ooh. It's almost not as syrupy. It's weird. Like, it's amazing how the mind plays with you. So, like, you're thinking, this is young. It's 2018. It's not aged. So, already my brain is saying to me, it's not going to be as aged as that one. And for some reason, I always think aged beer, like, thick and syrupy. Whereas this one is, dare I say, it's more sessionable at 10%. I think that's a bad word to use when it comes to these kind of beers. But you still get in that, the raisins, the toffee, chocolate, maybe even a little bit. No, it's weird. It is like I'm thinking like sessionable. I don't know if you guys want to try some.
Yeah, to try it side by side.
But I'm stoked that we get to do that on the show. I don't think I've ever done that where we've tried a beer side by side, and seen the age progression of where it's going. But yeah, I suppose everything in my fridge kind of just gets drunk. You want to keep stuff, but it just goes. So this is great. This is amazing. I'm just trying to read here. Why did you guys go? It might sound like a very silly question, but why did you guys go for 10%?
It's kind of in the style of a Belgian quad itself. Generally, the higher up you go, the more moves up, so like doubles, triples, and then we went into a quad. 10% also felt nice and safe for putting it in barrel. We didn't want to take the risk in putting a 6% beer in barrel for 6 months and all of a sudden it's gone off. You know, kind of went, let's go safe with the alcohol.
So that alcohol keeps the beer from potentially going off.
Yeah, as you say, because it's high alcohol, you can age it for a little bit longer than said normal beer. So that's why we did it at that 10%. Saved us, you know, just that little bit peace of mind that, okay, we can put it in there and see how it goes.
Because it is it's a high alcohol beer. It's a Belgian quad. And I don't think there's anyone else in the country who does a Belgian quad.
Not that I've seen at the moment, yeah.
Not even a Belgian triple.
Nick does a triple.
Yeah, Nick could drift a...
Does anyone do a double?
I've only seen international.
See, it's
no.
No, the Belgian double, that's my kind of favorite style to make. But the... yeah, it's obviously, it's just one of those, the Belgian beers, the Belgian doubles, triples, quads, they're just obviously they're not around. But I mean, I'm stoked that you guys are making this, and I'm stoked that it's flipping good. 10%, sure. This is going to hit me later, guys.
And it's a good winter warmer as well. I mean, that's why we love it in winter. By fireplace, I love this beer.
Speaking of winter, let's recap. This beer, will it be at Woodstock Winter Beer Fest?
Yeah, we should have it for bottle sales, like we did the last year. We had it there as well for sale by bottle. Yeah.
Do you have to give people warning when they want a taster or pints of this?
We actually had someone the other day who, when we posted about doing our launch, they were like, "Oh, you guys can be doing growler fills," and we were like, "No, we don't want to kill anyone."
Yes, exactly.
10%. We're not going to be filling your growler.
Yeah, you can come and have a pint, maybe cheapers, but a pint will put you to sleep.
Yeah. So we do it in decent tasting like goblets.
Yeah.
They call it snifters.
Okay, so if people want to try it, it's this Saturday at the Woodstock Tap Room. Remind me of the time?
Starting at 10 p.m.
10 a.m.
Sorry. Starting at 10 a.m.
Well, 10 a.m. and 10 p.m. are both ridiculous time. Okay, but we'll be there.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm very excited for that. And then the Woodstock Beer Fest. I don't actually have a date for that. Is it last weekend of July or early August?
4th of August. It's been put for, yeah.
At the
Is that-
castle.
Can we talk about that? Is that official?
That's what we've received.
I was invited.
Yeah, so.
Cool. Okay, so there you go, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it first on Hashtag Beer Time. Hopefully you heard it first on Hashtag Beer Time. This year's Winter Woodstock. Woodstock Winter or Winter Woodstock?
Woodstock Winter.
I've been drinking. WW brackets BF. WWBF is 2018 is going to be at the Castle. Castle Good Up.
Yeah.
And that is super exciting. I'm not sure what is going to happen. I'm not sure what to expect, but I know that it's going to be a good thing. Guys, guess what? It's about to go 1 o'clock. Can you believe that we've gone through a whole show and now we have to say goodbye?
Sure.
Goes quickly, huh?
Okay, very quick.
Yeah.
But I do want to commend you guys and say that the beers that I'm tasting out of your stable are flipping fantastic. Thank you very much. Thank you for flying the flag of craft beer in South Africa. Thank you very much for joining me in the studio.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah,
to
thank
come
you.
through, yeah.
It's been awesome.
I feel like we need to have a round 2. And I think whenever you guys make some special beers, just let me know. Just say, Troy, listen, we've got this new beer. Maybe we should be on beer. Okay, yes. Okay, we should. Let's drink it on Hashtag Beer Time. But guys, thank you very much. Anything else you want to say? Any shout outs?
No?
How's it, people? see you on Saturday. Cool. To all our listeners, thank you very much. To the Tasting League, how you guys doing? To Cartos, how's it going? To SSBSS, how you guys doing? And to everyone else listening around the world, yes, believe it or not, around the world, thank you for tuning in. We will see you guys next week where we have another Woodstock brewer joining us. We'll just keep it at that. We'll just leave it at that. We'll see you guys next week. Same time, same place. Thanks for listening, guys and girls. Make sure to follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Just search for Hashtag Beer Time. That's Hashtag Beer Time written out in full. Hope you enjoyed the show, and check you next time. Cheers.